Hello there and welcome. In this video, we will be playing as Sauber in the 2025 season DLC mod. Our goal will be to take the title in the first season, and this will of course be a bit of a challenge, but I am looking forward to it. Sauber starts out as the third worst team in terms of drivers and the absolute worst team in terms of the car. However, we do get the benefit of starting in January, and as such, we will have ample time to develop our car, to replace our staff and potentially our drivers before the season begin, and give ourselves the best possible chance at getting the title. Now, because we have a pretty terrible start here and the McLarens are pretty strong, I'm going to be pulling out every trick that I know in the book. We are going to be metaing this to the extreme, and we are going to be just doing absolutely anything we can to secure the title in the first season. With that said, I do hope that you enjoy this video, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Let's just jump straight into it. The first thing we need to sort out is our sponsorship to figure out our financial situation. We have 30 million in the bank, and we can improve that number quite drastically by getting good sponsorship. We end up with a decent one here where we are quite balanced on the upfront and the engagement, with most of it being in race day for a total of 83.5 million. After sorting out our sponsorships, the next order of business is development. As I mentioned, development will be meted to the extreme. We start with the underfloor, which we will be putting all of our CFD into, and we will focus on cornering while minimizing weight. We will also speed up this project by rushing it and adding 6 engineers to it. Next up, we have the chassis, which we will focus drag reduction and cornering into, as well as minimizing the weight. We also speed this one up by adding an extra engineer and rush the project. Next up, we have the side pods and the suspension. For the side pods, we focus on cooling and cornering. We will be adding drag reduction in future editions. For the initial one, getting that extra cooling is more important. The suspension, we focused on drag reduction for some extra top speed and tire preservation. We speed neither of these projects up, as the reason why we are speeding up the underfloor and the chassis is to get enough time to make a front wing and a rear wing before the first race is upon us. With development underway, our next order of business is to get started on staff and driver changes. The truth of the matter is that the staff is pretty poor and we are going to have mentality issues unless we fix this problem. We also do have a serious problem with Bortoleto, as he just isn't good enough to go up against Norris and Piastri in what will be inferior machinery for most of this season. Luckily for us, there are plenty of staff members that can be picked up for cheap or even free. That would be massive improvements. We start off by picking up Balbo as our head of aerodynamics, Beatley as our new spawn director, and both GP and Bono as our race engineers. He, the sole surviving member, gets to stay solely due to the fact that he has a long-term contract, and firing him would be quite expensive. When it comes to replacing Bortoleto, our most likely choice is going to be George Russell, as he is one of the only skilled drivers with an outgoing contract that we can pick up for relatively cheap. He is willing to join us, as he has just a year or so left on his contract, and we do end up signing him for the cost of 7.5 million. If we add this to the cost of replacing staff, we have spent about 12 million to basically put a new team together and complete these signings. After our first underflow is finished, we immediately get started on the second one, which alone will make us somewhat competitive, particularly with the high speed upping us 10 places. I also realized that I have completely forgotten about the fact that Sauber only has a basic factory, and we need to upgrade that immediately so we can get 3 manufacturing slots. This is actually quite important to ensure that we don't have to merge the manufacturer in the future. Once our initial design is complete, we get started on making a front wing focused on low speed cornering, and a rear wing focused on top speed, DRS, and medium speed cornering. Once all of these parts are done, that alone should be enough for us to be pretty competitive out of the gate in Australia. The initial focus for the pit crew is going to be lowering our chance of errors, and we're going to be spending basically the first couple of months getting this chance of mistake down as low as we can. Soon after, I also realized that I have just one affiliate, and since the plan is to use the affiliates to deal with the marketing focus, basically engagement, we're going to need to hire a couple more. So we end up hiring Pocher and Schumacher, who are free agents, to do this for us. Once the 6 initial designs are done, we are going to keep on making more designs with the same sliders as we did initially, in order to basically make future upgrades. Basically, we do the same design project 3 or 4 times with the same sliders as we had initially, and this will be a pretty decent upgrade down the road. Our first CFD period went into the underfloor. The second and third CFD periods, respectively, will go into the front wing and the rear wing, so we will not be spending any real time developing these. And as such, we'll have basically a design slot for the chassis, for the sideboards, and the suspension running 24/7, allowing us to build up expertise and basically get some upgrades down the road. For the sideboards, we're making one slight change with the sliders. We are also going to be focusing on top speed. But apart from that, the sliders are the same for everything else. In terms of our finances, it is going to be really tough as we're making just 3 million a month in positive revenue. And from the race weekend, we will be getting 1.5 million total from the basically race rewards if everything goes well. Now, while we aren't completely screwed financially, it is a challenging position to be in where a single bad crash could be a threat to the entire run. As we approach Australia, we have pretty much a completely new car, and as we put it together, it becomes apparent that it is quite competitive. At the season start, we find ourselves with arguably the strong car when it comes to cornering, ranking first in low speed and second in medium and high speed cornering. And when we compare ourselves to our main rivals, McLaren, we find that we have completely surpassed the car when it comes to cornering, giving us hope for the season opener. However, soon after, I do realize that this is not the truth, as Norris cars has upgrades that Piastri's do not, and McLaren is still slightly ahead as they are the car first in medium and high speed cornering, meaning that the season opener here should be quite interesting, and getting that new front wing and rear wing has just become even more important. Our first race in Australia is a wet one, where we are expected to be on inters for the entire race. With our initial qualifying performance placing us in 4th and 9th, we do have our work cut out for us. And at the 9th lap, we have the first safety car of the season, with Antonelli spinning out, hitting the wall. However, the safety car doesn't actually result in anything. It's too early for us to take advantage of it. Now, because of the wet weather and no further incidents, there wasn't really much we could do, and we end up just slightly improving from our qualifying into a 3rd and 8th place finish, while the McLarens finished 1-2, showing us who we will have to contend with this season. It is an acceptable first race, however, and we can only really go up from here. Getting ready for China, we find ourselves needing to deal with mentality, with both facilities and the 3rd ranked car still being a huge disappointment for Russell. As such, we do some basic upgrades to our operation facilities to try and boost the driver's mentality. Heading into the sprint, it started off with a banger, as there is a locker from Tsunoda, and he takes out no less than 3 cars. It is fairly early, and while causing mayhem, it doesn't really have much of an effect on the sprint itself. The plan for this sprint is what we always do: manage our tires and try and take the win at the end. This succeeds somewhat when Russell takes the sprint win. However, with Hülkenberg finishing in 4th, it's still a win for the McLarens here. For the race itself, we are employing the classic two light softs into a medium or hard tire, and it works out spectacularly well. The race itself is instant free and outright boring. While managing our tires, we slowly build a gap to the McLarens, and after our second and final stop, we have a huge tire advantage to Norris, and we are just 5 seconds down the road. But just 10 laps ago, we catch Norris and break the RS, and by the time the race reaches its end, the gap has grown to a full 18 seconds in what is our first 1-2 finish of the season, and basically a sign of things to come. Suzuka starts out with Antonelli pulling a double assassination, leading to an early safety car. Albon and Hajar soon follow in those very same footsteps, with Hajar's crash causing a virtual safety car. We try and take advantage of the safety car to pit and save a little bit of time. Unfortunately, this is not enough, and we do finish the race in 2nd and 4th behind the McLaren. Bahrain is up next, and it has been a fairly boring race. We've been running with Norris the entire race, and we've just been able to drop him. On the final lap, we get the overtakes done on the main straight. However, as we get to the end of it in the final corner, Russell pushes Hülkenberg off the track, giving 2nd place to Norris. Piastri finishes 4th. Jeddah starts out with an immediate red flag on the first lap, courtesy of Behrman. And this was not the only incident we see here. Jeddah had a ton of them, from Leclerc's crash, the Red Bulls hitting each other, Sainz eating the wall, and Rick doing the exact same thing just a couple of laps later. Now, unfortunately for us, This didn't really affect the result too much. Piastri still manages to pull off an overtake on the final lap, and we do end up second and third in Jeddah, with Norris in fourth. Next up, we have Miami, and managing tyres during the sprint gives us an easy 1-2. The race itself gets kicked into gear at the halfway point when Behrman creates his second red flag in 2 races. Since it happened in the middle of the wet period, we equip new inters and get going. However, it doesn't take too long before Alonso creates yet another red flag. With 22 laps to go, Miami turns into a pseudo sprint, and we are going to try and manage our tires the best we can. Unfortunately, this does not work out in our favor, and the end result here is a second and fourth place finish, while the McLaren gets first and third. With this result, Piastri takes the lead in the drivers and McLaren has the lead in constructors, but we are doing a decent job keeping up. Imola, on the other hand, does not go any better. Here we find ourselves finishing third and fourth, while the McLaren pull off a 1-2. We really do need to get the upgrades going for the front and the rear wings in order to be a little bit more competitive. Monaco sees us qualifying first and fourth with Norris down in 10th. We finally have a chance to get back at the McLarens. Lap 17, Norris finds himself in the wall and destroys his front wing, dropping him down to dead last. After the switch to Inter tires, we have been able to build a sizable gap to third place Piastri. We get a red flag. On the restart, we're able to stay ahead and make building yet another gap. However, Monaco is Monaco, and with the wet race here, we get another red flag, and because I'm bad at predicting the weather, we decide to start on the inters, while most of the rest start on dry tires. However, as it turns out, the inters was the correct choice, and it has allowed us to build a gap at the end of the wet period, and allow us to safely pit ahead of the rest of the field. In the end, we secure a 1-2 finish with Piastri finishing third, while Norris DNFs because of the damage he picked up after the crash. Canada has been pretty smooth sailing. It has been a wet period that is now drying up, but we are running 1-2, 10 seconds ahead of Norris. Piastri picked up some problems, which has put him out of contention, which is great news for us, but Hülkenberg is going to pick up a win here. Russell is going to pick up second place, and with that, Canada now goes the way of Sauber. Austria sees us with our first terrible qualifying session with Hülkenberg out in 16th, meaning our recovery drive is going to be the name of the game. Austria, is not kind to us. This is the second time Russell has been shuffled off track, and as you can see, he was actually struggling quite massively to get back on track there, and honestly, we're going to have to change our strategy here. What exactly happened here? That is Tsunoda just locking up and driving into Lawson. What I assume happened here is that Hülkenberg locked up and hit the back of Lawson. But yeah, he's definitely getting bullied here. And this does create a bit of a problem. There's just no way around that. It's not a good situation if Hülkenberg, we don't have a spare front wing for him. With 10 laps to go here, we've done a bit of a recovery drive. We're in 4th and 5th at the moment. We've basically pushed to Stensay pretty aggressively. Russell now is basically poised to get Verstappen and might even get Piastri by the end of this. And Hülkenberg here with an amazing recovery drive, even with just damage to his front wing, does end up 3rd and 4th here. I think we'll have to be happy with that. We're getting close to halfway point of the season here. I thought it would be a good idea to just take a quick look at our car. Currently, we have the best low speed, we have good medium, high speed, and also top speed. We're lacking a little bit in dirty air, cooling, and of course DRS effectiveness, but we currently have an upgrade to the rear wing coming through. We are still developing parts, but we do have one big problem. We're barely scraping by as it is on components. We didn't have an extra front wing last time around. We made a couple for Silverstone, and we do actually have an upgrade to suspension that will bring tire preservation up, cornering up slightly. If we compare our car right now to, say, the McLaren, we're actually fairly close. McLaren has a advantage when it comes to top speed, about 0.34 kph. They have better DRS. We have a pretty significant advantage low speed though, 25 or 23. They have a small advantage medium. We're equal basically in high speed, but they have dirty air, tire preservation, engine cooling going their way, and we could see McLaren here shed some of that extra weight and thus become a lot quicker. We'll have to wait and see though. But Piastri does in fact win. Hülkenberg comes second, Russell comes third. Can Lawson snatch a position of Norris? It can. So while the McLarens win here, we win in terms of the constructors. And honestly, I think that is the most important thing here. Private stunt, Russell still has the lead, but it's going to be a very, very close fight. 3 points between them. We now have a 23-point lead in the constructors. As we're about to head into Spa, it is time to update the car, as we do now have that new rear wing. It's going to be a massive improvement in top speed, in DRS effectiveness, and honestly a little bit in high and medium speed cornering as well. Let's get that on the car. And with that now, we're back in 1st, 4th, and 6th in terms of our cornering performance. But now we also have one of the faster cars on the grid. We're ready with the Belgian sprint here, and we did not have the best of qualies. As you can see, Hulkenberg qualied in 11th, Russell in 4th. Might make a bit of a jump here though, but we're going to have to see if we can make a bit of a recovery drive once again. The sprint here did not go our way. Norris won, Russell 3rd, Piastri 4th, and Hulkenberg 5th. Not the result we were looking for. We are nearing the end here in Belgium, and honestly, it hasn't been an interesting spectacle at all. Norris has been able to get away pretty much scot-free. We're trying to chase down Piastri here for 2nd and 3rd, similar to what we've done earlier this season. But right now, we're having a little bit of problems getting past, well, Danny Rick is being a bit of a nuisance. This is their 4th race so far this season, 4 out of 13, where McLaren has had a beneficial red flag, a beneficial safety car, virtual safety car, you name it. And as you can imagine, this is going to make chasing down Piastri pretty difficult because it's just 2 laps remaining, and most of this lap has been done under a safety car. So, yeah, Hulkenberg probably will get Piastri, I can imagine, but with 2 seconds for Russell to chase down the others, I think that's going to be a little bit too much to ask for. And that is just unfortunate reality. Once again, McLaren benefits heavily from a rookie mistake, and there's been a lot of them this race. None of them really caused a safety car or anything like that, but that last one did cause a virtual one that saved Piastri, and honestly gave McLaren the advantage here. Hungary has not gone our way, with Piastri winning. Norris gonna take 2nd here, and we are going to end up 3rd and 4th. With this, McLaren is going to take the lead in both championship, meaning that we have some work to do here over the summer break. Fireworks here start early in Zandvoort, with Hamilton being the first victim in Q1, as he just runs straight into the wall. Zandvoort here, we've had an incident involving Hulkenberg and Danny Rick. And honestly, this might put us into a bad situation because we have major front wing damage. It's a locker from Hulkenberg. Yeah, that's just Hulkenberg going too aggressive. We could even be looking at a 5-second penalty here. Danny Rick actually does get the penalty here, so even other teams are causing us pain and suffering at the moment. But yeah, Hulkenberg down in 7th. 6 laps to go. Let's see what Hulkenberg can do though, because he has caught up to the back here, but honestly 6th place is probably the best that we are. We've not had a good race here, I'm not gonna lie. But we would have gotten 4th place there with ease, if not for the incident, so... After a fairly uneventful Monza here, we can see Piastri leading a couple of seconds ahead of Hulkenberg, and then we have Russell a little bit further down the road here, trying to get till the end here. I might have screwed over Hulkenberg, but no, he makes it till the end, luckily, but has run out of fuel, has finished. We're going to finish 2nd and 3rd, which is not good enough here. It means McLaren is still going to keep their advantage over us, and with that in mind, we're going to have a hard end of the season. In Baku, Antonelli continues his shenanigans by getting a red flag in Q1. As we get close to the end here, we have a safety car throwing a bit of a wrench into our plans, and honestly, I don't know if I want to pit here. Pitting under a safety car here is 14 seconds in Baku, and looking at, say, Leclerc and Verstappen, I don't think they're going to pit necessarily, but I think Hamilton, I think Lawson are going to pit. Albon might stay out. Piastri is going to pit, so I think we're going to take the chance and just get another set of fresh tires. Unfortunately, Hulkenberg doesn't have them, so I think we're just going to have to stay on what we have. But Russell does have a fresh set of softs here that can help out a little bit, nothing major. Which should be fine. Clean stop there for Russell. And yeah, Verstappen just barely gets ahead of us there, giving Norris a slight advantage. But with 20% fresher tyres compared to Norris, I think we're in a good spot. Leclerc just barely gets out ahead of Hulkenberg. The margin is not really on our side here. But with all that said, I think we'll be able to get a good result here. At least I can hope. Not really having any effect. And Verstappen has fallen out of DRS. And that's bad because that means Norris could have an easy overtake here. Although Verstappen looks to be pretty quick. That is not what we needed here. And honestly, Valkenberg, we need to try and go full send now. Why do you fully stop there? It makes no sense whatsoever. Valkenberg just doesn't have the aggression that I need here from him right now. That is pretty bad. But Russell is going to win here. At least that is some solace. Norris second, Verstappen third. We gained some on the cars ahead, but not enough. We would have loved to gain some more, but we're now just 4 points behind Piastri. We are just 15 points behind McLaren. After a decent start to Singapore GP, we are now ahead of Norris, we're ahead of Piastri, and we basically set the orders here to always defend, manage the tires to absolute perfection, and hopefully this will be enough for us to kind of eke out a win here. Basically by taking better care of our tires than anyone else. We do not care about Hamilton. We do not care about Verstappen. Honestly, I'm fine with them taking 1-2. It's going to rain the entire race. Our car is not built for rain. As long as we can keep the 1-2, or rather, keep both of our cars ahead of McLaren, I will be very, very happy with this result. I'm not going to lie. So we'll have to see if we can manage this. Still 50 plus laps remaining. We now have a bit more of an advantage. Hamilton too has destroyed his tires. He is going to need to pit before the end of this. And honestly, at this point, all we need to do is keep an eye on for anyone else pitting, like the two McLarens, and respond to them. So currently the management strategy is going very, very well. We could have Hulkenberg here try and take advantage of the fact that we have Hamilton within range, and we shall try and do just that. And if we can get the overtake done here, then we could try and chase down Verstappen for a potential win. But Hamilton actually gets out of the way, does pit here, doesn't really have much of a choice. With 10 laps to go here, we have actually given the McLarens a slip here, and we're going to slow down on the risk-taking, and we're just going to see here how long Verstappen can keep them at bay, because right now, these results would be massive for us, because within the standings, Russell moves back up in the lead with 4 points to Piastri, and in the Constructors, we retake the lead with a 6-point lead. Spins, side spins, collects them, that is unfortunate. But it is just an unfortunate moment that happened. We see Antonelli, we see Danny Rick, both of them pitting. They are the only ones so far, however, so I think we are going to have to just bite our teeth here, stay out. The McLarens do the same, and honestly, it's just what you have to do in this situation. There's just no way around it. The more laps under safety car, the better, and there will be 3 laps of racing here, so I think we can actually deploy all the way till the end, and running this close to each other, Norris not getting an engine issue, is actually kind of unfair, I dare say. But we've had a good getaway here, honestly, and we'll try and keep that up, just create more and more of a gap. If we can keep this going, then we should, by all means of the imagination, be safe here. Another crash here. This time, it's Doohan. Doohan and the Williams of Science, maybe. Just with Norris finishing most likely on the podium. We're not going to get the massive win that we were looking for. But Verstappen does steal some points there, and that is actually huge for us. We'll take that. As we get ready for our next race here, we get our 9th version of the chassis done. This one we have UCFG time on. And this chassis will push us into basically being the absolute best team for cornering. It's going to help add the DRS effectiveness a little bit. give us even more top speed. And well, we will get one ready for Austin. The second one will not be ready until Mexico. So yeah, the chassis is now reaching its final edition. We have a couple of other parts that have also reached their final edition, which is of course the side pod that we have upgraded massively. But also now the suspension is getting there with another 4% tire preservation. So we're getting to the final edition of the car, and right now we are very, very competitive if you compare us to the McLaren. Final lap is underway here at the sprint in Qatar. It's basically been a management game that has so far worked out in our advantage. We have Hulkenberg here trying to chase down Piastri for second. Russell has been able to break free on this final lap, gained 3 seconds on the previous one. So with that, we hopefully here will be able to secure a 1-2 in the sprint, as there has been a crash further down the road. I believe Tsunoda is involved, but that's not something that we need to be worried about, as Hulkenberg does get the pass completed here. The question now becomes, can we hold on till the end of this sprint? If we can, it's going to be huge for us. Norris does also have a bit of a mechanical failure. Hopefully they don't fix that before the race begins. But yeah, we do secure a 1-2 in the sprint. McLaren third and fifth is not huge, but definitely helpful. Qualifying continues with yet another red flag here, as Sainz and Albon has cracked into each other. We have Williams on Williams violence in qualifying. That's quite nuts. The race in Qatar gets off to a brilliant start, as we have a lockup and a assassination attempt. Both of these guys just dive off track. A fairly boring Qatar GP here reaches end, as we basically just been in these positions for the entire race. Norris is faulty, escalated pretty early, and has left him kind of out of contention. Hulkenberg has unfortunately not been able to keep up with Piastri here, but Russell has done an amazing job and is most likely going to get first here. Hulkenberg going to get third. And with that, we now are looking very, very promising before we go into the 5 last races of the season. And if we take a quick look at it, Russell now leads by 20 points over Piastri, and in the constructors we now have a 22-point gap to McLaren. So it's looking really, really good now. Mexico starts out as so many other races with an Antonelli red flag in qualifying. Mexico here gets off on a interesting start here, as we now have a virtual safety car. That saves you about 5 seconds around here, which is actually quite a massive amount of time, which means that we need to reconsider the strategy. We could just do this with a medium, and honestly I think that's going to be the play. Spin into the wall. That is unfortunate. Yeah, bit of double stack here. We're still going to be fine. It's still going to benefit us, all things considered. We do lose a little bit of time to Piastri, but as long as one of our drivers beat Piastri here, we should be okay. As we get close to the end here, we have another virtual safety car, and unfortunately we just will not be able to catch Piastri here by the looks of it. He's just a little bit too quick. Doing spun into the wall there. Can definitely have taken someone out with him, but yeah, survived. Lawson is driving around with a broken ERS at the moment, but yeah, we don't really have what is needed here to catch Piastri. We could, if our level was a thing, use Hulkenberg for that, but as of this point, just isn't going to happen. Piastri's just a little bit too quick. He's been beating us on a hard tire versus a medium. He's been beating us on a soft tire versus medium. He's just too quick right now for us to contend with. Mexico here is going to end in Piastri's victory. Not a big surprise there. Russell's going to come second. Hulkenberg's going to come third. And all things considered, this is an acceptable result. We will retain leading both championships, but it's going to be interesting to see how things are going to go long term. The Brazil weekend gets off to a good start here, as we are running 1-2 in the sprint. We've been able to manage our tires a lot better than the rest here. And as you can see, punctures are happening. Verstappen is about to pick one up. And as such, the wet weather sprint here has definitely caused some problems for some cars. However, the McLarens will be fine in 3rd and 5th. Piastri's actually picked up a bit of an issue here, which is the engine. Looking forward to the race on Sunday, where potentially we might build a big gap before the last 3 races of the season. The Brazil weekend just got a lot more amazing for us because both Norris and Piastri set a poor lap time. Basically, they didn't go out during this window. They ended up doing setting lap times right here. And as a result of that, they're both now potentially out in Q1 as it's just getting wetter and wetter with each passing second. I don't think we're going to be seeing an improvement here that will keep them going, but we'll keep an eye on Norris, see what he can do. I don't think it is going to be good enough, and it isn't. He's still out. Piastri's still out in Q1. In Brazil, we have a good start, but immediately Russell picks up some underfloor damage, which is not great. And to make matters worse, Piastri has already, after 15 laps, made it back into the top 5, and Norris back into the points here. It's going to make this race a lot tougher for us. The race has been red flagged as Lawson has vanished from view, but with 33 laps to go here and Piastri and Norris just having pit, this red flag actually comes at a very, very opportune time for us. And in terms of strategy here, I'm a little bit unsure what I want to do. We've used our hard tire. We don't have an additional one. And while we could do a medium till the end here, I think what we're going to do is actually go medium, because we still have 2 mediums available. Time-wise, it's going to be very, very similar. This should allow us to break free from the rest, and I do believe Russell have the same amount of tires. So we're going to do a medium, or maybe a medium soft. We'll see. But I think this should be the best that we can do at the current situation. This does definitely help the McLaren so close to gap. But yeah, Lawson and he hasn't just playing ping pong. And that is very unfortunate. But we retain a 1-2. It didn't come at the worst possible moment. But yeah, we'll have to see what we do. Piastri also do now have a minor problem with his engine. That could spice things up a little bit.
All drivers have taken their positions again. Once more, they're ready to race. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Lights out, away we go. We are going to go ahead here and deploy. Try and maintain our positions. We do manage that. And basically now we just need to break free from everyone else. Piastri, Norris, both of them on medium tires, same as us. Seems like both teams are going to go for another pit stop. With 3 laps to go here in Brazil, we might have shot ourselves in the leg. Everyone else does have worse tires than us, but getting into a position to get the overtakes done is going to be a little bit rough as Hülkenberg gets the move done on Piastri here. But we might have chucked away a bit of a win here. As it turns out, 2 laps to go. Hülkenberg now chasing down the rest. Russell with the damage, not really being able to get the moves done there. We're going to just have to sacrifice energy to catch up to Piastri. Yeah, right now Hülkenberg is not in the best positions as Danny Rick picks up a puncture. And honestly, the rest here will not do that. So it's going to be a bit close. Russell here gets Piastri for the time being. Hülkenberg now. We're going to have to try and get at least Norris. We would love to get all 3 overtakes. But it's probably going to be a little much to ask here. We'll have to see. Hülkenberg now is trying to get the move done. We have better tires, but as mentioned here, it could be that we just should have been better to just save our tires. And it does seem to be the case here. We have definitely thrown away a bit of a point gain here on the McLarens, 4th and 5th. We finally have some other teams on the podium, but this was definitely a bit of a failure on my part. We were unable to take advantage of the situation presented. And, well, that sucks quite a lot. And Piastri managed to avoid the mechanical fault evolving until the end. Yeah, but yeah. Not what we were looking for. Russell, though, does extend the lead. So it's not bad from that perspective. But We could have gained so much more here. 22 points in constructors, 17 points in drivers, 3 races to go. With just around 20 points separating us in both championships here, us qualifying 1-2 in Vegas is definitely a boon. Actually taking a penalty after having engine trouble, and Norris qualifying in 9th. We are potentially going to be able to put an end to this championship right here in Vegas. We'll have to see. It is certainly potentially viable. The question is just, can we make it happen? And honestly, I'm tempted to go for the one stopper here. It is going to be slower by 11 seconds than doing something like this, but are we going to save 11 seconds by hitting twice? I think the answer to that is going to be a resounding no. So we're going to try and get a tire advantage towards the end and just play it safer, because McLaren is in trouble. We just need to survive and make the best out of the situation. So that is exactly what we'll do. Let's see here in Vegas if we are capable of extending the gap and potentially putting this championship to bed early. As we reach lap 14 here, Piastri has elected pit onto a soft tire, which means that he's probably going to go soft to a hard after starting on a medium. But Piastri is definitely eating tires, and that is not good for the championship chances. Norris, on the other hand, has caught up to 4th place. He's just 6 seconds behind us. But in terms of tires, we are very much similar. We just have a 3 to 4% advantage. And Norris, it does seem to be on basically the exact same strategy that we are. We'll have to see if we can hold on till the end. Things changing now because we now have a safety car. And basically everyone who has not pitted yet are going to be pitting at this point. You save around 4 seconds pitting under a safety car. And this might change our strategy a little bit, but honestly, I think we're just going to go to the hard and try and go till the end. I think that is going to be the best we can do. This is actually pretty bad for Piastri, because even if he does pit again, he's going to be down in traffic and probably not going to be able to do much of anything. As Hajar and Stroll here has had their incident, they're both out. We are double stacking here in Vegas. I assume Hajar hit the wall and then bounces back into Stroll. Yeah, that is exactly what happened here. Yeah, we are coming in for a double stack. Norris is coming in as well. Not that surprising. We'll have to see if we can actually get through these pit stops in good time, so we don't actually get jumped by Norris in the pits. And it looks like both of our cars get through safely, but Verstappen does jump us. Verstappen, however, is in a position where he's going to need to do another stop. And for Piastri, it's a hard tire. For Norris, it's a hard tire. We're probably all going to try and go till the end on these hard tires, which is very much viable. Just as we were finding ourselves in a good position here, we have a red flag, and this red flag helps McLaren out tons. We have a 20% tire advantage at this point, just 4 seconds behind. And Lawson has decided to create a bit of a red flag with the help of Hamilton by the looks of it. Now, unfortunately for us, this does pose a bit of a problem because we don't have tires available. It's basically just a soft tire, and let's face it, everyone is going to be on the soft tire. I think we're just going to try and go soft, try and manage as much as possible, and build a tire advantage. There's no real other answer here for us. But this does bring Piastri and, more importantly, Norris back into the fold. And while we had a great chance here to end the championship, there's another incident that, yeah, Hamilton becomes an unfortunate victim. It's another incident here that goes the way of McLaren. There's been a bunch of them this season, and this just adds to the pain of McLaren being blessed. And even when Piastri starts dead last, he's now somehow found his way up into the top 4 again with 15 laps to go. Soft tires for everyone. I don't think Piastri has fresh soft tires, however. We'll have to take a look at that. But yeah, Norris has fresh ones, Piastri does not. So we'll have to figure out how we want to handle this. I think we might just go full conserve here, honestly. Light will do it for the first couple of laps here. But basically, we need to manage our tires in a way that is going to allow us to keep up with Norris. That's going to be the more important part. But also, hopefully, build tire advantage towards the end there. 13 laps to go. Let's see what we can do. With 3 laps to go here, it has become evident that just running conserve was the correct choice. We've already basically 30% tire advantage on the McLarens. And with that 30% tire advantage, there's no way for them to really catch us. Even if they're running full attack and we're running conserve, we are faster on each lap. We basically just stay within DRS with conserve. And now that the tires have become this much better, this much more powerful than the McLarens, we have a huge advantage here. Now, generally, I probably would like to get Russell to win here, because that kind of just gives him a huge advantage. Piastri finishing 5th would be amazing here, as Verstappen is on the hard tires. But for the time being, I think we'll just let them fight it out. I'm not too miffed either way, I'll have to be honest. Hulkenberg currently in the lead. Russell currently in the lead. Russell wins. Hulkenberg comes second. Norris looks like he's going to get third. Then we'll have Verstappen and then Piastri. With the race to go then, our chances are looking amazing. The red flag did help McLaren, but unfortunately for them, they basically put themselves in the exact same situation they were in before the red flag, where they burnt their tires needlessly and weren't able to create the gap. But yeah, good recovery drive from both of them really. 11 places up for Piastri, 5 places up for Norris. Championship then, 32 points for Piastri, which means we can sort out the driver championship next weekend. Constructors, we have 40 points, which means we could, in theory, sort out the Constructor Championship next weekend as well. It's looking very, very promising here. Interestingly enough, in the Constructors here, I think we have almost scored more points than the other 3 and down teams combined, basically. It's going to be close at least, and that is actually kind of interesting in that we have 2 teams nearing 800-900 points. More than double of 3rd place. But we are going to jump into Qatar. It can get decided there. Let's see if it does. The deciding race weekend potentially here in Qatar now. We have a 1-2 for sprint qualifying. Piastri in 4th and Lando in 7th puts us in a pretty dominant position here where we should be able to just sit out front, manage our tires, and hopefully get a good result in the sprint. The start of the sprint here does go our way as we immediately have a safety car as Doohan is causing some sort of mayhem here. Fairly well, Aston. Fairly well. That's a trip to the hospital at least.
Safety car.
Yeah, Stroll has been Stroll. We have a safety car, and we've been able to already save a lot of the soft tire here, and this is just going to allow us to save even more. Now, interestingly enough, we decided to stay out, but everyone else has actually pitted for new tires here, so that could work out to our disadvantage. Norris down in 8th, Piastri in 3rd, should still be able to hold on to their positions. But we definitely do have a little bit of work ahead of us here in terms of just trying to manage. It's going to be rough, don't get me wrong, but management is still going to be the name of the game. And already Piastri has caught up to a similar level of tire as we have. With a little bit of deploy here from both Hulkenberg and Russell, I think we'll be able to chase Piastri back down again, or worst case scenario, secure 2nd and 3rd here. And I think that is, honestly, in my opinion, a acceptable result for this sprint here. We're not really looking for anything in particular. We just want to ensure that we keep the lead, and getting a 2nd and 3rd here rather than 1st and 2nd is going to do most of the job for that. It's 4 laps remaining, however, and at this point we can probably consider going just full attack. And we are going to do that at the end of this lap. We are now ready to start chasing down Piastri here. Verstappen is going to be a little bit of a problematic moment, but with full attack on these softs, we should be a lot quicker. And more importantly, we should be able to be a little bit of a threat here to Piastri. 2 laps to go now, 51%. Tires should be just fine to go till the end. And with that, we now have caught up to Piastri. And if Hulkenberg can snatch some more points off him here, that would be good. Let's see what we can do. As Hulkenberg has passed, can Russell get into DRS range here? It looks like that is doable. We'll use a little bit of energy to ensure that we stay within DRS range for the final lap. Then we're going to go full attack. We still have a small tire advantage. Let's see if it is enough here to get the points that we wish we could get here during the sprint. As Piastri gets that move made, but with fuel to spare, with energy to spare, can potentially get that place back. That's at least going to be the hope here. Might be a little bit too much to hope for, but we shall see. Hulkenberg has been following pretty close to this entire lap, but it's about to run out of energy. It does run out of energy. We're still going to remain on deploy, but we just need to ensure that we finish second and third. Norris down in 6th is good for us. So if we finish second and third, that is acceptable. Of course, we would have liked to finish a little bit higher, but right now we already have the advantage. We don't need to take any risks. And with the final lap being completed here, we finish second and third. Norris down in 6th is not what McLaren needed here. Let's see if the race gives us similar results. For the Grand Prix itself, we are qualified second and third with Norris down in 6th. And Piastri beating us out there by just 1/1000th of a second. The strategy here, this one is going to be very important. If we beat the McLarens here, they should not be able to catch us in Abu Dhabi. And with that in mind, we are going to try and put together a decent strategy. So, for Hulkenberg, I'm tempted here to start him on a medium tire and we just run it light. Go to a hard tire, try and run a little bit more aggressively. Then we finish it off with a lighter soft stint towards the end. I think this would work out just fine. We could also try and do a one-stopper because it is actually doable. It's a bit slower than this, but it is something that we could try and do. We can also, of course, try and do something else, but unfortunately, Hulkenberg only has one of each tire. He actually has 2 soft tires. This is probably the better option then, yeah, it is. Just a soft into a medium into a soft. Russell has 2 mediums and a soft, so we're going to do the other way around, I think. We're going to start him on... I'm going to run 2 medium stints into a soft. Not going to be as quick as Hulkenberg's strategy, but should still be able to make something happen. So let's try this. Hopefully it will work out for us, but if it doesn't, then we'll just have to live with it. Okay, let's see how this race goes. A clean start here in Qatar sees us take the lead ahead of Piastri. Norris still down in 6th. Piastri starting on a hard tire here is kind of interesting, and it might be able to make something work doing that, but we'll have to see. For now, though, we are just going to try and manage, and that's going to be the name of this race. Just manage tires and see who comes out on top at the end. As Duan pulls off a little bit of a spin here, the first set of pit stops is starting, and Norris is amongst them, going from a soft to a soft. And for Hulkenberg here, we are going to go onto a medium tire. For Russell, it's time to start pushing these mediums a little bit. 3.5 seconds by Piastri. We have a 3-second advantage up to Hulkenberg. And right now, it's looking very, very promising. As we are nearing the final pit stop here, we can see that Gasly has retired just from... mechanical damage. Hulkenberg comes into the pit lane here. Piastri is 16 seconds down the road, but has gone to a hard tire. Same here for Norris. We are going to a soft tire, however, and even though we do have a bit of a slow stop here, it should hopefully not have too much of an effect on us. We should still be able to reel in, I hope, Piastri here. 7.5 seconds behind. Better tires, as long as we can manage it better for these next 15 laps. Getting 8 seconds is very much doable. Russell, once we pit him, should come out next to Piastri. And we might as well take a look and see if that is the case. As Russell now has a clean stop. Piastri rolls down the line here, and Russell actually comes out ahead. So we are looking very, very promising here in being capable of finishing off the championships here in Qatar. Tire management here has definitely put us to the road to success. We can see that Piastri at 49% hards have been overtaken by Russell and have started falling behind. And with that, the Drivers' Championship is very, very likely sorted here. Potentially a 38-point lead if things stand as they are. And in the Constructors, we're moving up to a 54-point lead if things stand as they are. And Hulkenberg might even be capable over the next 4 laps here next 4 laps here to catch Piastri. And if that happens, then they will be in trouble. Let's see here. How much faster is Hulkenberg than Piastri at the moment? On that lap, gained 3 seconds. So with 3 laps to go here, very likely that Hulkenberg is going to catch up to and potentially get away even from Piastri. And we can catch that live at the moment. Next lap here, it's going to be Hulkenberg overtaking and most likely pulling away from Piastri. And with that, we should see this race basically sorted. And there we go. Hulkenberg has got the overtake done. That is the final nail in the coffin for McLaren. Even if Norris managed to catch Verstappen, it's not going to make a difference at this point. 3 laps to go. 50% for Hulkenberg. Should just about be doable. And since he is now pulled outside of Piastri's DRS, that's going to make Piastri's job here next to impossible. But yeah, Hulkenberg, Russell, both of them are just trying to get till the end here. Let us speed along and let's welcome our new constructors and our new drivers champion. Russell here with Sauber is taking the driver championship here in Qatar. Hulkenberg secures constructors. Piastri, while fighting valiantly, can only do 3rd here. Norris 5th. McLaren kind of honestly falling off here towards the end of the season. But yeah, this is us taking both titles with Sauber in the first season of the 2025 DLC. It's been a bit of a rough battle, basically. We've only had given away 2-3 podium slots, 1 race win to any other team over the course of the season. So it's been a very, very close fight for the entire duration of it.
And that is George Russell, the drivers' champion. And right now it's the British driver who proudly takes his place on the podium.
And that's excellent, seeing both the team's drivers up there on the podium together.
And that picture right there brings together the podium finishers for the Qatar Grand Prix. And if you need any indication of what the championship gold means to Sauber, I think you've got it there.
And it's not just one title they're celebrating. They picked up both the drivers and the constructors' championships. Utterly dominant.
Yeah, we did pick up both titles here. It did get finished in Qatar, just 1 race before the end here. McLaren did fall off, and particularly Norris here did not really pull his weight. Piastri 10 race wins this season. Well, Hulkenberg can be argued that he didn't do either, but Norris should definitely have done a lot better than he did. Constructors, we do win, and as I mentioned here, we basically almost scored more points than, with the exception of McLaren, the rest of them combined. It's been a very, very close fight this entire season. Now, because of the fact that we focused on winning the championships, we haven't actually put any work into research. So next time around, maybe we'll take a look at recovering for the big regulation change season. This is the big regulation change season in 2025 DLC. We'll take a look at the rules and regulations here. We are losing a lot of performance next year, and it might be fun to try and recover from that in a different video. But let me know what you think. We did manage to take the title in the first season here. It's been probably a little bit too much of, probably a little bit too condensed of a video, but half of this was recorded basically when I was still sick and basically voiceless. Had a couple of weeks where I've been pretty sick with the Forbidden of the Seas. I think you all can get what I'm getting at there, and it basically just removed my voice completely. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hope you still found this enjoyable. We might revisit this challenge some other time with some more conditions, but picking up Russell, picking up the new staff members, and just focusing on developing the car definitely has done the job here. And before we end, we might as well go ahead here and go to Abu Dhabi and take a look at how our car actually shapes up compared to the McLaren and all the work that we've actually put in here. Well, let's just get that sorted before we call it quits. And right now, we should be there. Abu Dhabi is something that I'm just going to skip it because we have completed the goal. Could be, of course, be fun to see if we hit 900 points with Sauber. But this is still good. Let me know if you want to try and do this challenge yourself. Could be interesting. But currently, our car here, as you can see, has reached the best in top speed, in low speed, medium speed, high speed, and 90 in DRS effectiveness. So as you can imagine, our car is at this point not really that superior to the McLaren. It's just about 20 points in each of the cornering stats. It's 0.6 kph. So the cars are still fairly close, but we've been able to close the gap quite significantly over the past couple of races. And also here, I did actually make a new part that you might have noticed, another suspension that would give us 5% tire preservation in the event that we really, really needed it before Abu Dhabi. We were willing to emergency manufacture, and that's also why we have saved up money. We haven't really been doing a lot of design in the last third of this season. But with that in mind, as you can see here, we made 9 chassis. We made just 4 front wings, just 4 rear wings, because they're very expensive to level up. The safety period was enough, I think. Side pods, we reached the 7th layer, underfloor 6th, and suspension, we went all the way up to 10th. But yeah, that is basically how we got this done. Again, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoy, and if you want to see more of this, let me know. And we might continue with some other teams. Maybe some team guides, maybe some different stuff for the 2025 DLC. Let me know what you want to see next. Thank you again. See you next time. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already. It helps me out a ton. Bye-bye.